Hey everybody, welcome to Country Girl. Today's video I'm going to be doing kind of like it's going to be a Q&A, but now it's turned more into a get to know me video. And the reason I say that is because on my banana pudding video that I posted, at the end of that video I had asked for y'all to put some questions down below, some things that you might want to know about me. I also posted it on Instagram, and unfortunately I didn't get a whole lot of feedback. I know a lot of people only are interested in certain videos, so maybe not everybody saw that video. Also, I know there's a lot of people that do not follow me on Instagram, so you may not have seen that post either. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start out telling you about me and who I am, and then I'll try and cover the few questions that I did get at the end. So if there's something that you do still want to know and I don't cover it in this video, leave me a comment below and I will address that. But one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video is because I have not ever done anything like this. And over the last 6 months, I have obtained about 6,000 new subscribers. And I do realize that there's a lot of people out there that probably have not went back and watched all of my videos, even though I do talk about my life and things like that in my videos. So you do pretty much already know a lot about me. Some of the new subscribers or people who don't watch every video may not know that. So anyway, I'm just going to get started and tell you a little bit about me, and we'll just go from there. My name is Celeste, and I'm 46. My birthday is February 28, 1973. I am not a leap year baby. I was not born during the leap year, and I also was not born on the 29th. I was born on the 28th. So anyway, I wanted to address that because I do get a lot of questions sometimes when people find out when my birthday is. I have been married for 18 years. It will be 19 years in November. I have 2 children. I have 2 daughters. They're both teenagers. I've got a 15-year-old and I've got a 13-year-old. And Caitlin will be turning 14 in August. So they're about 19 months apart. I am the youngest of 3. I've got 2 older sisters, and I have both of my parents are still living, but they are up there in age, so they are getting to where they're starting to need a little bit more assistance. I do work full time. I work 40 hours a week. I am a paralegal at a civil injury law firm. I really like what I do. I work for my husband and wife. They own the firm, and they're just the greatest bosses ever. I absolutely love it. I feel like that when I started working there, that job was meant for me because just the way the events fell into place, I feel like that God placed me there, and I have been happy ever since. I work with a lot of really good people, and so anyway, that covers that area. As far as my hobbies go, y'all pretty much know I like to cook, I like to scrapbook, I like to make little DIYs, I like to gift things to people. I like to exercise when I have the opportunity. I am a very busy person because I do work, do try and help take care of my parents as well as have the YouTube channel. So sometimes when I want to post, I don't always get to. I do try and post at least 1 or 2 videos a week, but when life gets in the way, sometimes that might slow down from time to time. But I do want to say I appreciate y'all hanging in there and supporting my channel and watching me. I'm not really sure what else I can really tell. I'm not a very thrilling person, unfortunately, but I do want to state that one of the biggest things that has happened to me in my life that was life altering was when I was diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2016. I'm not going to go into that on this video just because I feel like that deserves a whole separate video in and of itself. But I do want to include that because it is a big part of who I am and, what I have went through. And also, I do every once in a while, I'll make comments about my cancer treatment or something like that in various videos, and some people might be curious about it. So it's not that I don't really want to talk about it, it's just I don't want that to define who I am, and I also don't want that to be what my channel's about. So therefore, I don't really talk about it a lot. But since it is a big part of my life, I do want to go over that and tell you about that. So like I said, stay tuned. I will put that in another video. As far as the questions that I was asked if I still drink the Teamy tea that I did the review and giveaway back in November. I do still drink that tea. I still think it's a very tasty tea. Unfortunately, I'm just not a hot tea drinker. I had mentioned that before. I have a hard time with that. Although those teas are very tasty, it's easier for me to drink it. I still haven't developed or acquired a taste to drink that. Coffee is my main hot drink to go to, and I don't really want to replace that. But from time to time, I will still have hot tea. I was doing the detox program that they had, and I didn't really hang in there with that too good because the tea that I had to take for the colon or the every other day part of the program was just very hard for me to do. That tea was not good, I will say. It has a very I don't even know how to explain the taste of it. It's just not a very tasty tea. And with that detox program, that's something that you have to do every other day for at least 30 days. And so I fell off and didn't finish doing that. But I do still have my teas, and like I said, I drink it from time to time. And one of the questions that I got was what my favorite Bible verse was. I have a few, but I would have to say that the main Bible verse that really, I guess, is like tops all of them is Luke 23:34, where Jesus is on the cross and he says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing." And I'm looking down because I did write this down. I wanted to be able to say it. Sometimes just my memory, isn't so great. But I really love that verse because I feel like that just that right there, to me, just depicts and shows God's indescribable love for mankind. And, for him to be going through so much abuse and being battered and beaten and taking on the sins of the world, to be able to, at that moment, say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. The compassion that he has for other people when he's the one that's on the cross suffering. So that just shows to me, his great love for us, and that's so touching to me. The other Bible verse that I really like a lot is Matthew 6:34. And if y'all look these up, read Matthew 6:25 through 34, but I'm just going to recite 34. It says, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And I think I like this verse so much because we as humans tend to want to be so in control of everything and every aspect of our life. And one of the hardest things that I feel like, we tend to suffer with is letting go and letting God. And when you worry about what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or years into the future, I think sometimes we're planning and maybe not always addressing or asking God for guidance in those things. We tend to, want to jump ahead and do things on our own. And I think sometimes too, when you do that, you also take your focus off of the here and the now, the things that God has given you in the present. Every day is a gift from God, and God promises to take care of us. And so I'm not saying that you shouldn't plan ahead and you shouldn't make wise decisions, so that your future can benefit from that. I'm just saying, do not get so wrapped up in worrying about what's going to happen, that hasn't happened yet. Try and enjoy living in the here and now and appreciating all the things and the gifts that God has given to you now. One of the reasons why this verse also resonates with me is because, as someone who has went through cancer treatment, been diagnosed, all of that, and only anybody who's ever been diagnosed with a terminal illness can probably understand this. We all know that we're not promised tomorrow, but when you are told that you have a terminal illness, it just really hits home and makes you feel like that you have been given a death sentence. And so a lot of times I think that we get down and depressed, and we get so wrapped up and focused on the fact that we've got something going on that's going to take us down, that we let it completely ruin anything and everything else going on in our life. And, even the healthiest person may not be here tomorrow. And so to let a diagnosis or let something that's going on in your life or could happen in your life in the future, that's another thing. We don't know how much time we have left. Even people who are sick or terminally ill, God is in control of all of that. Only He knows what His plans are for you. And so we could be worrying over something that may not ever even come to pass. And all that does is take joy out of our life and out of our day. And so, one of the things that helped me, because you do feel like you've got a dark cloud over you, and that's just something you can't help but feel. But you need to remind yourself of this verse, or I did anyway, and that really lets me know that I don't have control over what happens tomorrow, whether I worry about it or not. It just makes me miserable in the here and now. And so, I want to live for today. I want to be thankful for today. I want to enjoy anything and everything that God has gifted me with today. And that's what I try and focus on. And so this verse really helps me to do that. Also, with that being said, because I was talking about how God promises to handle and take care of our tomorrows, I was actually looking for the verse where, God promises that He will never leave us nor forsake us. And when I was trying to look that up, there was so many Bible verses that has that saying, or His words or His promise of He will never leave us nor forsake us. And so there isn't any one verse that I could pick out for that. I guess it's just His promise that He will never leave us nor forsake us. That it's something that I think about and carry with me. There's a reason why God is referred to as the rock. And that is because when He makes a promise to you, without a doubt, it will never be broken. We as human beings, we break promises all the time. We sin. We do things we shouldn't do. It's part of our human nature. And it's hard for us, especially when somebody else lets us down, or when we let other people down because we promised to do something and we don't follow through with it. That's so wonderful about God, is that I know anything He has ever promised me, I don't ever have to worry about Him going back on His word. And when He tells me He will always be there with me, in the good times of my life, all the way into the depths of despair, I know that God will always be there, even when everybody else has abandoned ship. And just knowing that is just so comforting. And so, I do remind myself of that all the time. All the time. When I'm in a desolate place in my life where I'm upset or feeling bad and complaining or whatever, or having pity parties, I will tell myself, God promised that He will never leave me nor forsake me. And so that is another one of my favorite, verses in the Bible. It's just a promise, one of the many promises that God has given to us. And so, anyway, that covers that area of questioning. I'm sorry if I got a little winded on that, but, anytime, I start talking about the Bible or God or verses or anything of that nature, I do tend to get a little bit long-winded. But with that being said, I am going to wrap this up because I don't really recall having any other questions. Like I said, if you have any questions for me, or if I did miss any questions that you put out there and I did not cover, please leave a comment down below and let me know. But I do want to, again, thank you all for watching my channel. Thank you so much for your friendship, for your support. And I hope y'all all are having a good week. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and have great plans for this weekend. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.